Today we're looking at two cows, this one with a white line defect, and this cow with a very sore case of digital dermatitis. You know, it's funny, trimming a cow's foot. It's not just about cutting away the hoof, it's way more than that. It's like this dance almost. You gotta find a rhythm, build a connection with the animal. Honestly, when I'm really in the zone, it feels kinda, well, romantic. Sounds crazy, right? But it's true. And it's not just about me feeling good. A cow's hoofs, they're everything to them. They're on their feet all day long, every single day. So if their feet are messed up, they are messed up. That's why I take this so seriously. And routine trimming cows' feet, like what we're doing right now, is the absolute foundation of cattle hoof health. But sometimes, even with this exhaustive care, they still end up with problems, just like this. This cow has a deep crack in the white line area of her heel bulb. And believe it or not, that is why it's so high. She's been avoiding walking on that outer claw because it's so sore. The reason there's a big gouge out the side wall of her foot is because the farmer has had a go at fixing her already. But fast forward 2 weeks and we are back here today to try to do what we can to get her back on the road to recovery. I start by making sure both of her feet are as level and flat as possible. I need to spread the weight as evenly as I possibly can across the entire surfaces of these feet. And I know she's going to need a block, so I prepare that inner claw ready for that block. The way you apply these blocks is absolutely crucial. You need to be certain there's no moisture whatsoever on the surface of the hoof, otherwise it'll turn to steam and separate the glue away from the hoof horn. Then we always dry off the blocks just to make sure there's none there either, before applying the glue to the block and giving it a really good mixture. We want to help this glue as much as we possibly can. And then, when you finally stick it in place, you don't squish it. The glue is the strongest part of the equation, and we need there to be enough of it to stay in place. Right, I start by washing out this lesion with an antibacterial spray before grabbing my knife and paring away the excess hoof horn round about the lesion. Throughout this entire process, I'm going to try to get rid of any rotten or contaminated hoof horn, to open the lesion up so that whatever we apply to it topically is just a fancy name for on the surface, will cure the problem. What I'm doing isn't hurting her, but her foot is inflamed inside, so just touching it is uncomfortable, which is why she's kicking out. I pause my cutting while she moves, not wanting to make an error. Right, I've settled into it now. All I'm really trying to do now is ensure as much weight is away from this area as I possibly can. After giving it a good clean out, we can clearly see the heel area is still too high. I can remove more material, ensuring that no pressure is put through that part of her foot, and therefore making sure she's more comfortable than she was when she first came in. And once that's done, we can see the fruits of our labour. This has turned out to be a really clean trim. We can clearly see the lesion, and I can see that dermatitis is starting to attack it. So I spray on this copper and zinc spray, which will help to break down the cell walls of digital dermatitis and allow the cow's immune system to take over and kill it from within, before wrapping it with salicylic acid, which will help aid that process. And down her foot goes. I know you didn't have the benefit of seeing her walking before we put her into the crush, but please believe me when I tell you that she isn't really walking all that much better at all. The inflammation is still there, and I've been trimming away from around a sore portion of her foot. Please also trust me when I tell you that that block is really going to work wonders for her over the coming weeks. That lesion will begin to heal up, and the biodegradable bandage will fall away on its own, leaving new, fresh hoof horn underneath it. Right, with her out of the way, it's on with the rest of the cows. We settle back into the groove. There are small periods where we deal with small issues, but predominantly it's plain sailing, routine trimming these beautiful Holstein cows. Our smooth flow is interrupted by this next cow with an incredibly sore back left foot. You can see the heels of this foot are unusually high. That's because she's walking on the tips of her toes to avoid any contact with the heel of her foot against the ground. This cow's foot is overrun with an infection of digital dermatitis up in between the claws at her heels. I wash off the entire foot so that I can get a good, clear view of the problem we're going to be dealing with. It's very rare that I take so much off the heels of any cow's foot, but in this case, we need to return the angle of her foot back to around 50 degrees. Then we open up the interdigital space using these razor sharp knives. This will allow air to flow between the claws, it'll allow slurry to disperse more easily, and it'll allow much better access to that painful lesion. You can see that the farmer has been using copper sulfate in her foot bath, and that's why the lesion is stained slightly bluish green. I open up that interdigital space as wide as I possibly can before using my antibacterial spray to clean the area even more thoroughly. The treponema that caused this problem to arise cannot stand copper and zinc. It breaks down the cell walls of the bacteria itself, and that allows the cow's immune system to then overcome the bacteria and kill those spirochetes that form this incredibly sore problem. Problems like this are dealt with exceptionally quickly, and then we move on to the next cow and the rest of our day.